Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5. Folks, we've had a lot of Superman on our minds recently, whether it be Superman and Lois premiering or the Snyder Cut, which has finally put Superman in that black suit and gotten rid of that mustache from all of our minds. And you know what? I mean, Snyder Cut, suffice to say, divisive in some circles, but you know what isn't divisive? Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Tiki, when this thing came out, it spread like wildfire in the most positive of senses ever. I mean, this is the Superman film fans and just any Superman fan or any people in the space of the DC of the DC animated films or just kind of the DC movies in general said, why didn't we just film this in live action?
Yeah.
Make it happen. This thing has been getting a lot of buzz, and I tried to get you to watch it during the DC fandom because they made it available to everyone. During that event, and of course,
I know you did.
We have some connective tissue with this one too. So one of our guys is in it.
One of our guys, Dragon. Let's hype that up right off the bat. He's writing a book.
Yes, he is.
I'm sorry, that's just like the most appropriate introduction to Chick Hogan I can think of.
One of our Bates Motel alumni has a very prominent, very memorable role in this. And when I saw that, I kind of knew that going into this, and I was hyping it up for you, hoping you'd watch it. But now, amidst the Snyder Cut of it all, you finally watched it.
I did, and it was great, Dragon. It was great. I don't think it's perfect, but I really, really liked it. If anything, honestly, Dragon, I just wish that these animated movies could be longer. That's honestly my only nitpick I'm gonna have with it, because I wanted, especially with Parasite pre-transformation, I wanted more with that character. I wanted more time to really because I really liked the setup that we had with him. The first interaction with Clark, but it is just kind of like a setup, and then boom. I don't know, like that's my one nitpick, Dragon. I just think that I really wish that these DC animated films could extend past the hour and a half mark, because I really feel like an extra 20 minutes or so could really make this thing sing. But regardless, Dragon, I still thoroughly enjoyed it. Zachary Quinto makes a wonderful Lex Luthor. He's kind of the star power behind this thing. Lex has a great kind of double cross plot towards the end that we'll get into. And just one more thing, because I want to end on this just to emphasize it. DC live action division, take notes. This is how you do Lois Lane. This is the Lois I want. This is my Lois. Now, keep in mind, I'm sure that the Lois from Superman and Lois is wonderful, or else the show wouldn't be getting the hype that it's getting. I have not seen that show yet, but I want to see it.
Well, it went on break, Tiki, so now it's at the halfway point. They went on break, and they're switching off with Supergirl, so now you have a chance to catch up. You have 5 episodes.
Okay, well, it's just a matter of finding a source for them. But
I'm just saying you have time maybe get that underway, but I'm saying that won't be back until after another half of Supergirl, and they'll switch back or something. It's like
I am looking forward to it, because by all accounts, everything I've heard is just like, it's the best Superman thing ever, and I'm like, wow, that's high praise. But yeah, this is fantastic, though. It really is. I will say this, Dragon. I will plant my flag in terms of like a best. I honestly think this is my favorite interpretations of the Kents that I've seen. Like it's up there, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure I'm sure Superman the animated series has some really wonderful Pa Kent and Martha Kent moments. I'm sure, but I don't know, man. There's just really something, especially Pa Kent. Because Pa Kent, needless to say, a divisive character in Man of Steel, to say the least. Dragon, it's so great to see a Pa Kent that is, he is still like very, he's not like the jovial, like apple pie, great American dad that we think of when we generally think of a Pa Kent. He is a little bit on the cynical side, but he has reason to be, and he still has a loving side to him. And I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I love Kevin Costner. I don't think it was Kevin Costner's fault, but this is just so much better realized pocket, and Martha too. because honestly, I don't even like Martha on the Snyder Cut. I think her and Lois were like the two things that the Snyder Cut didn't really improve. So, all right. Anyways, Dragon, what's your overall take on it?
So
I mean, you
I
kind of
think
hyped it up, but
So I think Man of Tomorrow is a great way to kick off, DC original animated movies post. This is the first
okay.
one
So this is
post
the
the.
first one post the continuity. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
good to
basically
mark.
we're now
That's good to mark.
officially out of the
All right.
whole New 52 continuity, which also pretty much the Snyder, basically the DCEU has been stuck in the New 52 continuity as well. So we're pretty much out of all that.
Okay.
So much like the comics, this is something something akin to American Alien. This is how I
That's
felt
very
about
much what it felt like. Yeah.
this thing's very much. It's not a straight on adaptation of American Alien, but they pulled really memorable elements from it. And much how I feel about the American Alien story, though, I feel like this is how you reboot Superman. This is how you take Superman to a modern day setting, kind of like what we did with Ultimate Spider-Man way back when. We kind of like, let's update him for like the then modern times, which is like the 2000s versus the 60s. So this is kind of how you do it for Superman in the 2010s, I suppose.
Sure.
But honestly it's a nice and simple Superman story with a focus, not on the action, but the humanity of the character, which is always something that we always love to glom on to. That's that's the undersold element of Superman these days. It's the everyman uncertainty, you know, that Superman deals with, despite being this super powerful alien. That's where the intrigue of the character is. I love how the story is focused. How I love how story focused this is with the three alien characters and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Yeah, it's a really surreal kind of pairing that we get with Martian Manhunter, Lobo, Superman, and then at one point we have Lobo and Superman and Lex working together. It's like we get some really fun crossovers here, Dragon. That's one of the things I really liked about it.
Absolutely, and I just love how that kind of leads into sort of this kind of this really great kind of three-act structure of
Yeah.
amongst things in a sense. And I just love that everything, once we introduce these guys, logical things follow in the aftermath of their appearances in the story. It's just the whole thing. There's a homespun earnestness despite the modern setting, and it's kind of like this movie is like the ultimate, just this around things out here. It's like the movie, it's the ultimate in your face to those guys who say Superman's played out and he's boring unless he becomes like a despot or something like that, like frying people with heat vision and stuff, and like ripping masks off people and punching holes through them. It's like those, like that Suicide Squad game trailer. That's that exactly. It's the story is there's breathing room for story to land. It's not about the edgelord Supermans. It's not about like the Superman who can't muster a couple words, to say how he's feeling about things. He actually says how he's feeling about things. This was a refreshing change of pace versus like we need the monolithic Superman with the heat vision. We don't get that.
Sure. All right. So Dragon, really quick, let's get into some background.
Sure, not a whole lot of backgrounds. So, as I mentioned, this was the first post-52 continuity film. They were looking for a new direction, so you had essentially helming this, less Bruce Timm, more one of the other animated series alumni. You had Butch Lukic, who had worked on Batman the Animated Series and, very appropriately, Superman the Animated Series. You got Butch Lukic, one of the old guard. You got Jim Krieg, who's kind of one of the new guard. Good guy. Worked on I think he worked a little bit on Spider-Man the Animated Series. He did Gotham by Gaslight in terms of like one of the great DC examples of his work. And you have Tim Sheridan. He's the new blood. Tim Sheridan, he had done The Death and Return of Superman. He had done like the Justice League action cartoon, and he's currently working on the Masters of the Universe show with Kevin Smith, the new He-Man cartoon coming out on Netflix. Nice. I'm looking forward to it. That has like the most amazing voice cast ever, Tiki. I'm so looking forward to it. They got Conroy
I've also been hearing a lot of hype for Invincible as well.
That's this week,
right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that too.
Trust me, Tiki, you're going to want to watch Invincible. You really are.
Oh, I know. I'm planning on it. I'm hearing hype.
Yeah. Anyway, so wrong flying superhero. Okay, so anyway, so you have these three guys in a room, and they're looking for what's the next Superman story we want to adapt or pull from in kind of our new approach with Superman. So the first one they go to is this maybe the year one of Superman stories. Not like a year one story, but it's kind of like one of the iconic kind of like go-to Superman stories. A look at Superman for all seasons. It's wonderful comic. It's like 4 issues. Every character's different each issue. It's very much kind of like the loved ones of Superman, filtered through him. That's they liked that, but it just didn't quite come together. It was a no-go in what they were looking for like a fresh reboot, because it was a good
really
Superman
a very
story.
theatrical take on the character. It sounds like.
It was good, but it'd be more like we're adapting a book before we're doing something kind of like something maybe we can branch on, something like new.
Right.
So then they look to American Alien. Again, that's where they're pulling out, okay, let's take the look of American Alien with like the whole proto-Superman outfit. Let's take the characters we really loved, like Parasite and Lobo. Lobo has a really important role in that book. I mean, you read that book. Lobo ends things out.
I did. Yeah.
And a little bit of Clark Kent from Birthright, which also went into some of the formulation of Man of Steel. When of course, they went off the reservation with that, but you get the point. So they're pulling from some like undersold kind of Superman stuff and some new Superman stuff. So they're kind of like, okay, let's not do a straightforward adaptation. Let's kind of mix these elements together and go.
That's
basically
smart, man, because that is kind of like what the MCU does really well.
And I think what pulled the project together is they wanted to do an indie Superman film. Let's do Superman like an indie movie. Keep it small, keep it character-driven, but kind of maintain like a Donner-esque kind of tone of, kind of hope and like, likability. Like, Lois and Superman just kind of hanging out for a little bit, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think it really, really pays off.
So, of course, they reintroduced Superman. They're not quite saying it as harshly, but they're kind of do it. It's basically a Man of Steel do-over was also the imperative of the film. Let's do Man of Steel over again, but on our terms.
Man of Steel, but good.
At least less divisive, yeah. So, then basically, kind of really harken on the theme of truth, which definitely comes through the whole, like, do I go public or not truth, that whole angle. And the last thing I'll mention is about the style. So Sam Register, he's kind of the head cheese at DC Animation. He's like the Jim Lee of animation. Mm-hmm. So Sam Register wanted the new style because the previous the new continuity, the in-continuity films were all had like a house style. It was very anime inspired, which made it easier overseas and animated. Very lazy in certain places, but they kind of straight. What's the opposite of the anime look? Well, the anime look is very thin lines, so they can do a lot of animation. So let's go the opposite. Let's give them really thick comic book lines.
I love the outlines, Dragon. The outlines really sold me on the look right away. It was a great way to kind of like differentiate itself from the old look.
It is a great look, and they're going to keep this look for a couple movies. So the next movie they have coming out this year is it's Justice Society World War II, and that's going to be in this style as well.
Oh, I am down for that. I am down for that. Yeah,
like all the World War II set Justice League characters. Well, Justice Society characters.
Oh yeah, give it to me. Give it to me. Take
I think
my money.
That's about like 2 months from now, I think. Anyway.
Honestly, Dragon, that sounds like the most up my alley DC movie there's ever been.
Thank you, Charlie. I've seen a little bit of footage, man. I think you're really going to like it.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so you can imagine also this kind of bridges into some overseas trouble when they're animated, because the overseas guys are used to animating the thin lines. Like, what do you expect us to do with this?
Oh, God, yeah.
And just to credit the artist, I believe the guy who pioneered the style was Otto Schmidt. So Otto Schmidt really kind of... Otto! Right, and the director on this, Chris Palmer, a guy who was a story artist on Young Justice and Legend of Korra.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to break it up by acts. And Dragon, I feel like this is, if we were to, let's transition like Korra style. If this was an Avatar series, I feel like this would be good book titles. Book 1, questions. Book 2, answers. Book 3, choices. Dragon, I can just see it, right? It fits. It fits.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Act 1, questions. So this is the Lobo side of things.
Yeah, this is like Lobo. If we were to tie it to an alien character, this is Lobo's big kind of act to shine in, the big Lobo introduction. And of course, questions.
I feel like this works so much better than the invasion, like 2/3 of the way through Man of Steel.
Exactly. So that's the thing. I kind of figure questions is, this act really focuses on Clark's uncertainty about his past, and kind of
the opening is freaking powerful.
Yeah. So speaking of that opening, let's talk about the. Oh, you mean the sleepover, right?
Yeah, that cold open, man. I fucking love that.
I know it's great, and that's a big American Alien pull. They switched the movie, but it's right straight to American Alien. Clark freaking out watching the movie in Smallville. I love they kept that.
Yeah. So right away, I was like, oh, this is very Max Landis-esque.
Oh yeah. So just it's an excellent pool, and of course we went 50s B movie versus ET because if it's ET, there's no Martian Manhunter payoff.
Also, if it's ET, I kind of feel like it's like well, everyone loves ET, you know? It's like
Exactly,
by the end of the movies, they're in tears that he has to go.
exactly.
All right.
So I love this opening. It kind of conveys the negative alien stereotype that
Yeah.
Clark worries about as a kid. And all Clark knows is that he's different. He possibly I think he knows that he's an alien, but they don't have all the details of what the Kryptonian side of things, which we find out a little bit more so later in our story. So Jonathan and Martha Kent, as you hyped up earlier, Jonathan and Martha, great parents, but they're struggling to help Clark because they don't really know how to help this
Mhm.
kid, but they love him.
And I think that's one of the MVP things about the story is the fact that they are struggling because I feel like the Kents are usually portrayed either one of two ways, like too cynical, as we see in the Snyderverse, or just kind of like way too, like I said, like a great American, like apple pie, like super wholesome, like they're basically like superhuman in their own right with how likable of human beings they are. You know, it's like they're flawless, and this is a great compromise. This is just meeting right in the middle.
And I love the debate that they have, and I love that we, the audience, can hear it. And assumedly, Clark, with his super hearing, is also privy to this conversation. It's like the kid with like the kind of the parents at each other's throats. Not that they're at each
Yeah,
other's throats here. I'm just saying it's kind of like the kid overhearing things like thin walls or something. So like Jonathan, John's really smart here. He's acknowledging that we can't shelter him. One day he's probably going to protect humanity here. Again, he doesn't know this for certain. But
so
one
this is
day,
like the opposite of Man of Steel, Pa Kent, in like, oh well, let people die if it means hiding your powers.
yeah, Jonathan here they struck the perfect balance here where Jonathan he knows the government is going to be really scared of him.
Yeah,
That's what he's
yeah.
dreading. But he also knows that at some point, like, we can't shield him. We can't like tell him to hide. We have to prepare for the
Like he,
inevitability that's
unlike
going to
Kevin
happen.
Costner, he knows that just hiding forever is just not going to be a valid option.
Yeah, and we can't let like a bus full of school children drown.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kevin
Yeah,
Costner.
that's yeah, really that never never goes away. All right.
Maybe.
Anyway, so Martha voicing being so maternal and wonderful, and Martha's voicing that a kid shouldn't have that thrust upon his shoulders. He shouldn't have to worry about protecting humanity and all these like what to do with his powers. Just be able to be a kid.
Uh-huh.
Of course, we have the pyramid. I love that the pyramid essentially is like a little fill-in for the crystal because again, it kind of changed up a little bit. Maybe again, it's like a literal puzzle. It's a symbol of. I like the pyramid as a
Like
symbol
an
because it's
alien Rubik's cube.
exactly. And I like that. I love that it's this perfect symbol. An update is a symbol of Clark's frustration that he lacks the answers. Is right there in front of him, but he can't quite decipher it. His future and his destiny is quite literally a puzzle. I really like that idea.
Yeah, yeah.
So just the fast forward a little bit here. So Clark Kent, we have the kind of the young buck kind of Clark Kent for our story. He's not quite the hotshot reporter yet. He's an intern. He's a coffee boy at the Daily Planet. This is a great thing. I love very human thing to start Superman off as.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's good character building for sure.
The baby steps of ambition. He's like FaceTiming with his parents, trying to tie a tie, and he's like they're kind of concerned over the proto Superman vigilante acts, which I really like that, by the way, him acting as a vigilante and like,
Superman year one, baby.
oh yeah, done right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, they're worried about the risk of being discovered and captured. And again, really, the actual concern here. Well, he's in a city now, not Smallville. It's less small town. Like, oh man, it's not like the Blur or anything. It's not like that red kid in the jacket running around.
Right.
So
Right.
kids leaving the nest. Clark, and also we kept the Kents alive, by the way, which is pretty cool too.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, Dragon, set up Lex's plan really quick. I need to go grab a drink. I'm sorry,
Right.
I'll be right back.
Okay, so Lex has his big launch. The big first story of our film here is Lex is launching an orbital telescope. That's basically going to be kind of like a satellite of some kind. It's going to monitor like alien activity and stuff. And I love the idea of we really see aliens and power at play thematically with Lex and basically the things that are going to kind of stem from the story. Like Lex is using Star Labs to find extraterrestrial life and harness its power. which is very classic Lex. And again, it's kind of teeing up the xenophobia angle of the story. You know, it's this whole thing of, you know, again, Lex is trying to harness the unknown. Basically, Lex represents everything Jonathan Kent's afraid of. Like, literally, he's got cages for aliens, and if he knows that, oh god, there's an alien amongst us as a coffee boy, I'm going to get my meat hooks into him real fast. But yeah, so let's talk Zachary Quinto Lex. Yeah, so Quinto Lex, he's
Okay, I'm back.
Diggy, Zachary Quinto Lex, thoughts?
Oh, he's fantastic. I really feel like he kind of portrays like the more wormy side of because honestly, Dragon, I'm sorry, with all due respect to Zachary Quinto, I think he's a very talented actor, but he's kind of got one of those faces that you just want to punch in the face just on instinct.
However, nothing against the guy I'm about to use this comparison for. If they ever do a biopic on Eli Roth, they have to get Quinto.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying, Drake. Quinto is very good at playing people that are like like wormy. You know what I mean? He's almost kind of like a modern Giovanni Ribisi or something.
I love what he did with this role, though. You're right, he plays it so well. I love the kind of casual corporate cruel he is.
He's got a great reveal at the third act that we'll build to, but I think that alone just makes him super memorable.
Think about the awesome subversion we have, where not even Lois Lane takes out Lex Luthor before the first act even finishes.
Right, yeah.
And then we tuck him away for Act 3 in an awesome
It's basically the first thing that happens in the story after the character setup.
Exactly. It's great. And so I love, Lois exposes his corruption, again, kind of the corporate kind of cruelty that he embodies in this. And and we have this. I love how she takes him down too. It's like awesome. Basically, he's trying to put the moves on her with the champagne and everything, and got him saying like he's launching unsafe. Basically, this rocket, whether it launches or not, is going to land in billion-dollar contracts with the government, and like if it kills anyone living nearby a launch site, they deserve it for being poor and stupid, in his opinion.
Oh boy.
Which is great, of course. When the rocket doesn't go off great, that basically is the nail in his coffin. So yeah, Lois Lane. I love how she is the ambitious mirror to both Clark and Lex in a sense. She's again the reporter that Clark wants to be, and very much kind of has this command over power and powerful figures like Lex wants as well. Like I mentioned this too. Like Lex. Lex is trying to harness the power of kind of extraterrestrial life. He's keeping an eye on it in the kind of the public kind of cell line, but he really wants to put in cages and everything and unlock the secrets.
Sure. With Lois, I think the thing that's always bothered me with Amy Adams Lois is that I feel like the character is always too self-serious for her own good, and I feel like they build her up like, oh, she won a Pulitzer Prize, but it's like there's no methodology behind that. It's a lot of showing, it's a lot of telling, but not showing. But with this Lois, I love how it's like she genuinely just kind of like spells out her methods to Clark, and we get to see it in action. It's like I really do feel like it's a great portrayal of just how far some reporters are willing to go to get the story and to do the right thing. And I don't know, like honestly, Dragon, I do feel like she might be the runaway MVP of the whole thing in my book, and maybe that's just because she's so much better than the Snyderverse Lois.
I mean, too, just with kind of the young factor we have going on with kind of both Superman and Lois, and pretty much all of our characters in this. Lois is like she's right out of like she got the Luthor scholarship. She's kind of right out of college essentially. So it's kind of neat to see again the tenacity, the ambition at play there compared to where Clark is starting very humble and by the bootstraps compared to like, man, she's really kind of going after the powerful people, make a name for herself, and get those Pulitzers and get those kind of like staff jobs and everything.
Sure.
So I love that like Lex made her cynical of power, and of course it's going to be Superman's job to kind of take her out of that mindset through the course of the story. And she uses humanity as her weapon to bring down the powerful. Like she uses like the flaws in the human ego. Like if I stand people up with these power moves, the power move runner is great in this too.
That's a classic Superman Lois back and forth. I love that.
It's a power move, Clark. Keep them waiting, and then they'll be putty in your hands. It's like that's just genius. They're going to give her that within the power themes of the film. We got to talk about Rudy Jones.
Yeah, like I said, Dragon, the one and only nitpick I really have with this movie is that I would have liked to see at least, maybe one scene with his family, because I know his family has a few scenes on their own. But I just would have liked to have seen a little bit more with him. But I do think the introductory scene with Clark is great. I think it sets him up really well. I think it sets up, they have kind of like a good bond right off the bat. I think it sets up how good spirited Clark is to just random people. So yeah, I don't know. I do think the Parasite power and character, and I think it's awesome that at the end of the day, this movie is basically a Superman kaiju movie. I am not against that, but I know I think this was a great setup. I just would have liked to see a little bit more of it.
I think this is the best scene of the film. I think the one scene between Rudy Jones and Clark Kent is just it's brilliant. There's so many layers and dimension. Brett Dalton does the voice of Rudy Jones, and Brett Dalton he was Ward on Agents of Shield. He was kind of like this. He very much played into the whole Hail Hydra thing
Ward
from Winter
Beecham?
Soldier. No, not that. What did I say?
You said Ward.
Well, I said Grant Ward, didn't I?
No, you just said Ward.
Oh yeah, well I'm saying they always call him Ward. I think it's
okay.
Anyway, I'm saying the short names they all call him Ward because he tied in the whole Winter Soldier thing where he was one of the bad Hydra guys. So
Gotcha.
And so the point being, he had like a whole arc and stuff. Anyway, the point being, Brett Dalton, he kind of became a running gag in that show over time. But I love that he gave such a real performance here. There's such a human scene between two of them. He's a veteran. He's struggling for his family as a janitor, very humble job at LexCorp. I love that. His little conversation over coffee. I love the beverage conversations in this film. Coffee and tea with the Martian Manhunter. It's like it's great. I just love the whole cinnamon thing. Cinnamon really wakes it up. Yeah, I think so too. It's like it's so adorable. And it's just that the human connect versus Lois Lane. We just see the tact and reporting skills of Clark too. Where Clark Kent got so much, he learned about this whole alien sub plot with Lex Luthor just by offering a man coffee and kind of connecting with him on a human level. Versus Lois Lane is very jaded towards humanity. He's like using like the bold and directive. I'm just going to call out power. And it's going to work in my favor, which it does. But again, still look what Clark did just with a cup of coffee. That's impressive. All right. Let's see. So then we get to basically the Lobo of it all. So we have the proto Superman versus Lobo fight, which we got to talk about our guy Ryan Hurst as
Lobo. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Hurst, of course, Chick Hogan from Bates Motel, the boar jerky enthusiast himself.
Yep. Whether it's gun art or really nice door work, it's always Chick Hogan.
I think he's great. I think the character is a little one note, but I don't know. I think he's really fun in the role.
Yeah, well, so I think he did a great job as Lobo. I mean, look, he's no Brad Garrett because that's always my go-to Lobo. Lobo played Brad Garrett in Superman. Brad Garrett played Lobo. Brad Garrett played Lobo in the DCAU, and I always loved it when he did.
Went method actor on it, Dragon. Lobo was Brad Garrett.
That'd be fantastic. Very scary for reruns of a certain show. Anyway, no, but seriously, this take on Lobo is great. Possibly a definitive take on Lobo, seeing how right they got it. Because we've had very few. You can count the number of times we've attempted Lobo in adaptations on one hand. Because Krypton did Lobo in live action for the first time. The show Krypton season. That's why season 2 is better than season 1 has Lobo in it. Anyway, but I mean, Lobo, his whole shtick is that he was a parody of the '90s. Like when Superman came back from the dead, I forget if that was when he was first introduced or not. It was like that's when Superman has like the mullet and everything, and they was really beefed up and had really strong jaws. So it's like, what if you did like a parody of that, and like all the bad guy wrestlers and everything, all the braggadocio, just kind of like all the Liefeld inspired designs.
Yeah, that's the thing. This guy basically just felt like a pro wrestler, and honestly, he was fun. I think Ryan Hurst kind of elevates the material, but I did kind of get a little tired of the characterization. I didn't really think there was much to the actual character, and that's another minor nitpick I have. But
I
keep
mean,
in mind, I have no attachment to this character from the comics, so you know that's probably a factor of. I can honestly see it working better in live action, and if it's like a little bit more toned down.
sure, sure. I mean, also the other thing with Lobo too is that Lobo is kind of a lot of people say Deathstroke is Deadpool's like DC equivalent. But I mean that's somewhat true, but I always say if you really look at it, Lobo is much more in line with what Deadpool is, only he's just crazier.
I could see that honestly.
Especially with the healing factor and everything too. I mean,
Uh,
he kind of obviously he has a healing factor by the end of the movie, but I mean you don't really see it in
the fact
action
that
that
he's
much.
pretty legitimately insane.
Yep, yep, that too. But yeah, just like this space bounty hunter who's just kind of off his rocker
Mhm.
and all the place. Anyway, so this is great. This is an excellent pull from. It's probably the most genius pull from American Alien too, because American Alien hinged on Lobo coming back, and basically we have the scene play out in a sense here of like he informs Clark Kent, who throughout that story doesn't know what exactly he doesn't get the crystal in that book. He just knows he's an
Yeah.
alien and he's different. But the Lobo says, "You're Kryptonian. Your whole race is gone." Of course, not as delicately as that, just laughing at his face. "You're a Kryptonian, you idiot! The last Kryptonian."
Kakarot.
Pretty much, just more cigar chomping, but yeah. So yeah, so you have this space bounty hunter who's been around and who can legitimately go toe to toe with Superman. That's like his whole shtick is that he doesn't really need kryptonite to go toe to toe with Superman. And of course he's just so completely opposite to the wholesome nature of Superman. He's like he's the crass, he's like he kind of curses in kind of space talk like frag this and all that.
Oh God. Yeah.
Anyway, so Lobo, has like the cool accoutrements. He's got the bike, which basically responds to his whistling and everything. It's filled with weapons. He's got cigars. He's got the chain weapon. He's wonderfully loud and crude, as I mentioned. So, the important thing that he represents in the story is that he represents the alien that Clark fears he could become. If Superman had an ego, he could be Lobo very easily. If he was became that despot-esque character, or like the young hotshot version of a despot to be like, yeah, look at me, I can take bullets and everything. Unless someone has a green rock, I'm unstoppable.
Oh God. Oh God. I'd like to see like a I don't know, like a Channing Tatum Superman be that kind of like braggadocious kind of douchebag.
Oh yeah, Superman the frat boy years. But yeah, so this sequence we have great action. We see Lobo. Lobo again. He's got the healing factor. He's got the strength. He's got the alien tech, which definitely comes into play with one of our characters in this story. And Superman learns some stuff in this fight. He learns the whole solar recharge. He puts that into play here when he's getting the crap beat out. But I love the logic behind the kryptonite ring. The kryptonite ring is just like a little poetic irony on Lobo's part when he was looking for me. He stopped by Krypton, found the rocks. I'm gonna kick the crap out of you using this piece of rock from your planet just to kind of drive insult to injury, without knowing that it's kryptonite, it's radiant, it's gonna kill him. Superman gets really messed up in that fight too. He's like, "Oh God,
Yeah,
it's
he
horrible,
does.
right?"
It's pretty mangled. Yeah.
And again, you have great lines like, "Alien, you ain't got a mirror on this planet. It's like you're strong, freak, fun, strong." Anyway, so again, I can go on about how cool the fight is. I mean, the design of Superman, though, again, the cool aviator goggles look and everything's good too. That's fun.
That is my favorite Superman design, man. I love that. I would take a whole live action movie of just that design.
The only thing that kind of beats it is again in American Alien, which basically they pulled this exact design from with one exception. They tried it here. Superman has the red cape for a second before he flies off and he just kind of falls off.
Mm-hmm.
We had Batman's cape in American Alien, add a black cape on Superman along with the aviator look you have here. It's kind of cool.
All right. Book
yes.
Book 2, Answers.
All right, so of course, we're now thanks to Lobo and the Martian Manhunter kind of popping in there. We provided Clark with some information.
Take notes. This is how you have Martian Manhunter lurking in the background. Keyword: not having pivotal character changing interactions. As other characters. All right, I'm sorry.
Well, more accurately, let's not just add him. Let's not add him to as a button on the end of a scene in reshoots later. Let's just not do that. Let's just not have hey, Martian Manhunter was there the whole time, but was he though?
Yeah, this is a way better way to do Martian Manhunter was there the whole time because we physically see him being there the whole time.
Yeah, we had the shadowy government guy, which I already knew know who that guy is. I can't wait
Oh
for
yeah,
him to
yeah,
find
right off the bat, sure.
Well, again, like Rudy's pointed out and everything, it's great when building him up. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, it kind of builds a little bit of tension. Yeah.
so Act 2 is primarily the Martian Manhunter thing, where basically we use Martian Manhunter as a way of giving Clark the information he's been searching for years about his Kryptonian lineage, and this helps inform how Clark decides to move forward. Like, do I go public as Superman? Do I become Superman? All that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we should mention this before we get to the Martian Manhunter stuff. Let's talk about the tragedy of Parasite, the origin of Parasite.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's a great origin. It's very, very Spider-Man villain, Dragon. Tell me it's not.
It is. It's very Electro-esque of all the Spider-Man comparisons. Spectacular Spider-Man did an Electro thing very similar to this, and it's great.
Yeah, that's the main thing I was thinking the whole time was how much this felt like a Spider-Man villain. But just the whole idea of science kind of fucking over someone that they're not really the bad guy, but at the same time, they definitely are a force that needs to be stopped.
What's even better is that just with the science thing, it's like we connect the alien theme with Parasite. That alien technology did this to him. So again, he's literally what Superman. He's in Superman's shoes, and he's kind of part alien, part human now, in a sense. Where the thing that really hit me with Parasite, I love it's so wonderfully tragic how Rudy Jones, and this, by the way, this is the best take on Rudy Jones ever, because Rudy Jones usually he's just like a janitor at Star Labs or like a place that's moving some like alien chemicals, and then this happens to him. It's usually how it goes. So like Rudy Jones, he's the power sets the draw with Parasite, less the guy. Yeah. But this again, giving him like the family life, making him like real kind of slice of life Albuquerque verse. I love it. Literally he has a Kaylee too. It's so Albuquerque verse. His daughter's named Kaylee. So, and he's an ex-soldier, and that's the thing. I love that his last act is heroically, evacuating, saving the people of Star Labs. So he's evacuating the place, and because of that he got left behind, and he gets bombarded with the organic EMP thing, which as an idea is awesome. The idea of Lobo's alien tech essentially is like an EMP that sucks power and everything. Therefore, that is his ability. It's genius. I love
really cool power. Yeah.
Oh god, it's so awesome.
And like I said, the fact that we basically just get like, by Act 3, it's literally like Superman versus Kaiju. It's like, yes, I am down for this.
I got an issue with that, but we'll get there.
Well, I do think like let's talk about like the characterization where I feel like we lose the human element of Parasite maybe a little too early. Because like by Act 3 he does definitely become just like kaiju. So I don't know. I feel like what they do with him in terms of like giving him the human element, like breaking into the apartment and everything like that. That felt like a very Sandman-esque scene.
Yeah, I felt that's as far as we should have taken it, because that was the compelling monster story they were going for, and then we turned him giant. That was the problem I had with it. It's because that number one dad scene is devastating.
I'm just a kaiju fan. You're right, that was devastating. You're right. But I'm just a kaiju fan, and I'm also a fan of superheroes fighting unconventional things. So I was kind of geeking out about Superman and a kaiju battle.
I mean, look, don't get me wrong, it's cool. I'm just saying not as interesting as the mug thing, but yeah.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, so and again, just seeing like Parasite's humanity on the monster, that's a Del Toro moment right there. It's Del Toro meets Sandman.
for sure.
Also, what's kind of great is getting him to that point. We took this really nice guy who really had his life together, who became essentially the thing with Parasite and the whole power angle of the movie with Parasite, which goes hand in hand. So again, he kind of ties into the alien thing of Superman and the power thing of Luthor, in a sense, where he becomes a borderline junkie and monster, because he becomes a power junkie, which turns him into a monster, which is so very sad seeing that nice man go down that path.
Mm-hmm.
Power's literally blinded him in a sense. This poor guy. All right. So back to the alien thing. Let's talk about the chat with Martian Manhunter.
Yeah. So first of all, I just love that Ma Kent is putting on tea.
Yep.
That's very classic, like Superman, Justice League, the animated series.
Oh yeah. Because let's just talk about in general, Superman and Martian Manhunter. As you kind of got a glimpse of in that episode, and that comfort and joy, Superman and the Martian Manhunter hanging out around the holidays. That whole thing. I've always loved pairing Superman and Martian Manhunter together because it makes so much sense because they share a lot of abilities in common on their face. You know, outside like his vulnerability is fire, his vulnerability is kryptonite. Outside of that, they're pretty simpatico. And you know, like the fact that you know they're in this case, Marshman has come out of hiding to convince Clark to go into hiding like he did for his own protection, because out of what he's observed over humanity for probably since the 50s, which given that he traditionally, especially given that, you know, he's seen a lot of like, you know, racism and xenophobia over the years. He's very unsold, like, you know, the hope of humanity, which Superman turns him around on, which is a really beautiful story. And I love it when we can kind of use them, you know, these two kind of like the last survivors of their respective, you know, alien races, and they can kind of like, you know, take away certain things from humanity and kind of teach each other and become buddies. It's a perfect set, these two, you know, and I think the story reflected that really well.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, and also like the best moment, one of the best moments between these two in the whole film is those movies are terrible. Just in that one line, we assuade all the fears that Clark has had. Where with a character who literally embodies what he saw in the '50s B movie of like the
Right.
shape-shifting alien, where it's like, hey, it's like all that's bunk. Don't worry about the propaganda. It just diffuses it so beautifully right there.
Yeah, really good stuff. And then of course we get some origin stuff as well.
Yeah, and it makes sense too. Like he read Clark's mind, he has like his memories as an infant. Therefore, he tells him, "Yeah, I know a few things about your parents. I know how to unlock your mystery, you know, puzzle box there, your little mystery pyramid." And I love how he's coining lines from Jor-El and Laura, particularly Laura. The whole his mother. We always talk about Jor-El. We never talk about Laura. By the way, there's a complaint.
It's true.
I mean, man, that's the one thing Man of Steel did. We got a little bit more of Laura. It's about it. Where you know, she had this really nice line, like if you dwell
Maybe
in the
if her name
past.
was Martha, she'd be more relevant.
Of course, but again, you know who she was though. I let Jur, who we know very well as Vanessa.
Oh, nice.
Vanessa played Superman's mom. Anyway, so you know the line here from Laura is like, you know, if you dwell in the past, you'll lose your path, which is great. Then we get the other mother figure with Martha. Martha has a beautiful scene with Clark that definitely kind of pushes him in the Superman direction. And one of the great ways, because we always name drop this in comics and stories, and we kind of like throw a little reference to it. Like you look at the Lois and Clark series. I'm not talking about Superman Lois, I'm talking about Lois and Clark way back when, that one. You know, you have the scene where Martha makes him the suit. In this case, it's a beautiful scene where she just gives him the suit, and he's so like, "Oh, you added a cape? That's great! Yeah, I added a cape. I got the idea from that Batman fellow I saw."
Yeah, I love the runner with the cape of you know, he basically wants to just impress Lois with it at the end of the day.
Again, Lois, she says that picture of Batman. I just love that we keep stealing from Batman. It's great. But yeah, it's a real practical, and I love how practical the suit is too. Where like they went through a whole bunch of band saws. It's made from like the baby blanket material. It makes sense. It's great.
I also love how she did it specifically because she's tired of seeing her son naked on the news.
Yeah. It's like it's make it like
Very motherly thing to do.
But by the way, I respect this movie. Tell me how don't you respect the movie so much for not doing the conventional scene of, oh God, he's naked. It's like, you know, it's like, good gravy, he's naked.
Yeah,
you know,
we didn't really have a reaction to it. It was nice.
Yeah. Like this is all we need. This is all we need. She made him a suit so this wouldn't happen. End of story.
Hey, now that's how Lois finds out that Clark is Superman.
Oh, now you. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
it went so far to avoid that, but all right. Okay, so now we've informed Clark about his backstory. We've given him all the information so he can make a decision. So we build up, you know, Clark making a choice whether to go public, because Lois is basically on his heels about this. She's gonna set up an interview with the Superman guy, and she's gonna find out the Flying Man before they settle on Superman. And by the way, real quick, how did you feel about Perry White? Because I didn't like him in this.
He was very, very J. Jonah Jameson, and I think that those two are very different characters. So yeah,
never should the twain meet.
No.
So, but yeah, we have like the Kents have this great saying that Pa Kent has, where you know, whether you face it head on or head down, you accept the challenge, you accept the consequences. which is great. So either way is going to have consequence. So you might as well just pick a direction, just kind of live with it. So it's kind of obviously the suit kind of clinches him and like I'm going to go the Superman direction. I'm going to go public. Again, it's the old immigrant story connect in a big way. He was afraid of how the world's going to react if he admits that he's an alien, which again brings in the whole xenophobia angle of the film, which again is it makes perfect sense. Yeah, you would do this with Superman. Of course, he's going to face like xenophobia and like the whole people got all out of sort of where people are born sometimes. Of course, Superman would be the perfect character to do this story with.
Yeah, definitely makes it a little bit more timely for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's see. So Lois, basically, we introduced the parasite of it all through like Lois. Speaking of interviews and stuff, so Lois has in conversations. Lois interviews Lobo. How does that go, Tiki?
Not very well.
God, it's hilarious. I just think it's so hilarious that we take away Lois Lane's upper hand in the best way possible. By the way, Lois Lane played by Alexander Daddario.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In that True Detective show, I think, in that movie with Bill Murray once. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny seeing Lobo drive Lois up a wall. It's just kind of funny to kind of take her down a peg with like the alien she thought she was going to get the cynical upper hand with Superman with, and just did not end up for. It's like, oh god, it's wonderful. It's all the less. It's like imagine like Hannibal Lecter. It's like a less sophisticated Hannibal Lecter playing all these mind games on Clarice Starling. It's all the fake ads. Like there's a whole army of Kryptonians and they're gonna take over the planet. Nah, you should have seen your face though.
If Hannibal Lecter was like an aging rock star.
Yeah. Play it Hannibal Lecter or Phil Spector or something.
Right. Oh god.
All right, so Rudy, he's trying to get revenge on Lobo to figure out what the heck happened to him. Like, what did you do to me? Of course, he'd hate Lobo, and of course, in trying to get Lobo through the cage, absorbs a lot of power, and he just goes nuts. That leads to a really great end of Act 2, where real shocking end of Act 2. How did you respond to the end of Act 2, Tiki?
Let's see. This is where is this the death of Martian Manhunter?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we kill off Martian Manhunter.
I mean, I gotta be honest with you, Dragon. Part of me was like, nah, way. Nah, they're not just that's too big of a death to just like do in the first new DC movie.
I hear you, Tiki. By the same token, we saw his like burning, charred corpse.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of saw the whole, because I know that Martian Manhunter can manipulate his body, Dragon. So I don't know. I kind of saw the return coming. It was kind of like one of those Disney things where it's like, maybe if it was like more of a side character, I would have bought it a little bit more. But I mean, it was shocking in the moment, though. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, as you said, the charred corpse of
on the first watch, I was ready to call BS on that if he came back. But then I realized when they actually, again, the writing was so tight on this, Tiki. They called out, he went into Superman's mind to make him think that he was dead for that moment, which is even better. It's like, yeah, that makes great sense. He wanted the surprise factor to save his bacon later.
Right.
Which is great. The last thing I want to hit on here is that I love that, again, through our villains, through Lobo and Parasite, we found a way to like kind of make Superman vulnerable. Again, a little bit of the kryptonite ring, but we didn't even need the kryptonite ring to give him someone to go toe-to-toe with. And with Parasite, the age-old struggle of Parasite is if Superman touches this guy, especially in the first encounter, he's gonna zap away his powers, and Clark Kent and Superman, they're not going to have powers for a while. That's a genius idea. That's how you...
the interesting thing is that this transitions into, like, Dragon, I never realized how much Raimi Spider-Man was in this movie, but it feels very Spider-Man 2-esque, where it's like, he still has the powers, but they're not as reliable.
Yeah, like he's still recharging very, very slowly. Absolutely, and it's so funny given how the snake eats its tail on that, because Raimi is very inspired by Donner Superman, the Spider-Man movies. So it's kind of funny how that works. And again, Spider-Man 2 inspired by Superman 2 with Superman losing his powers in that movie.
Oh God! Oh man! You're right. It is a snake eating its own tail.
All right, so that brings us to Act 3, choices.
All right, so yeah, we get a visit from Lois, and I do like this big kind of like motivational speech about choosing the career path in life and the dangers that come with it. I think that's very in tune with the character.
Nice COVID conversation. very American Alien-esque scene where, like, Lois kind of tries to call up Clark after the big battle and everything. Again, like a Lois and Clark scene versus Superman and Lois had very few interactions, very appropriately given the whole power move running gag.
Yeah,
and I love that she mentors him into becoming the reporter that we all know he's going to become, and also becoming his friend by the same token. It's just that just the ambitious friend, and again, like the little being a little power hungry herself, that makes her perfect for kind of like for kind of the story that Superman has to kind of thrust himself into at the moment. And of course, I think the best gag of all is if she's trying to steal his byline too. That's like there's like question of how much of a friend is she really being, because she's also trying to steal his scoop.
But again, that's classic Lois Lane, Dragon.
It
love
is.
That. Yeah.
Perfect. It's perfect. So it's she inspires him to take the risk, which of course the risk in this case is a really unconventional team up.
This is like, forget anything that we've seen in the MCU, Dragon. This is one of the weirdest team ups I've ever seen in any superhero movie. I mean, you thought Thor joining up with the Guardians was weird.
Oh yeah. This I love Superman making the risky choice in order to save the day. He visits Lex and full on humanity on display. And Superman, he makes a very questionable choice here. But again, it's like the Ken said, it's either you face a head on or not. There's going to be consequences. And it's a lose-lose situation. He's got to make the best choice he can right now. Where I need help. I need someone to help me figure out this problem. I'm not smart enough to do it. I know who is though. Lex. So he goes to Lex, and Lex already he's figured out. Okay. He's solar powered, which I can probably use.
Yeah, Lex already has it figured out. Of course, he's like already like 5 steps ahead.
So right now he's just talking to him very casually, and also he's in the costume too, which makes him a little bit more vulnerable, like, to Lex too. Like just Lex to mock him. I didn't know it was Halloween, like all that stuff. It's like, okay, so 1, he's solar powered. 2, he's weakened by parasite right now, hence him needing my help. And then through Lobo, he learns, oh, kryptonite is his weakness. Thank you, Lobo.
Yeah.
So this, so Superman, again, he needs the help, but my God, is he going to have trouble later with Lex? Thanks to this.
Oh, yeah.
But again, he's making the heroic choice. He's he's putting himself on the line to save the day. So, we examine the power theme. I love that we examine the big power theme in this, with all this Lex stuff, while Superman is so powerless. And Lex's corporate thinking, the whole money and resources, the whole like you absorb a company's assets and its weaknesses, which very much plays into how the heck we defeat Parasite with the whole, let's use the kryptonite weakness. He's all superpowered right now. Let's do it.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. I like it.
Also, the day pass thing's really fun. I just love Superman's like very simple. Like we all think, yeah, how the heck is Lex gonna get out of prison for one day? This is a new Superman. Superman does not have the clout to say, hey, can we like kind of let Lex out for the day and then put him back? No, who are you? Why are you in this costume? Get out of here. Or no, he's like day pass. Yeah, I can buy my way I can buy my way out of jail for a day. No problem, Superman. Oh, so naive. Right, so then we have just that great thin line. I just love the great thin line. If Superman and Lex could work really well together, and they could be friends.
They could.
But Lex, he pulls his Loki stuff with his double crosses.
Oh man, this was a brutal double cross, man. It really was.
I love Lex. Zachary Quinto is so great, and as you say, so great and oily with all the Lex dialogue. He's so wonderful with it. Really, the whole like I can't just launch you into space unless you're an astronaut in your day job, which I don't believe you are. You're not going to be able to survive it. All right, so then we have our big kind of kaiju power plant climax. So I'm split on this. I think it works. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not. I think again. I just
think it's cool. I just think it's like it's a candy bar for the brain, if you will.
Sure. And again, I'm not going to say it's like it doesn't kill the movie at all. It's just, again, I think I was so more compelled by Parasite earlier, but I won't linger on the point. It is what it is.
I
mean, also, it's kind of funny that there's one last thing we'll add in there is that the design of Parasite, especially when he's this big, of all the kaijus he resembles Godzilla 98.
Right. I totally agree on that. Yeah.
Which I don't think helps it to me on some level. It's like, yeah.
Do you think that was intentional? I don't really necessarily think that was intentional.
I gotta tell you, Tiki, Parasite usually does not look like that. I think it was
really
intentional.
Oh wow. I mean,
look, Parasite. Of all the times I've seen him, I mean, usually has like a stocking or like a pantyhose thing on his head, but it's purple. That's usually how his face looks. Now, so they do make him gnarly and kind of look more like add big parasite, like leech-like teeth sometimes. But outside of that, it's usually like a leech or something, like an actual parasite versus like a kaiju or like a galactic monster. But I don't know. Anyway. I'm spitballing. Also, we got accoutrements, Tiki.
Okay.
All right. So Superman, he's recharged by this point, which also means the ring won't work. Because if he's recharged, that means Parasite's lost his abilities, which means, oh boy, now we're in for a fight. I love how we've addressed, like, everyone's on the power plant is gone because they called in a bomb threat. And Tiki, who called in that bomb threat?
Go ahead.
Lobo.
Yeah, that's
you shouldn't lie about bombs. I didn't. Just has like a bomb vest on. Classic Lobo. So we have some fight stuff going on here. Obviously, if Parasite gets there, he's gonna be really bad if he gets to the power plant. But they've lured him into the trap. Martian Manhunter saves Superman from the double cross from Lex, and again, the turn on Lex, as you said, Tig, it's so fantastic. I just love this whole
gobsmacking, as you would say.
It is utterly gobsmacking. He's using the magnifying pulse rifle, which already is like a cool gadget. I love that Lex's power is a manufactured power. It's corporate power to the max. He's militarized it, and he just has this great dialogue that's sort of like, who's the bigger threat, the janitor turned monster or the superpowered alien lying to humanity? And he's just like kind of wondering, I wonder who to use this on. You know what? I'm just going to make you both my slaves, which, oh man, it's so horrifying. So I'm going to make you both my slaves. Thank goodness Martian Manhunter saved Superman's bacon there. Thank goodness. I think this is the big feather the movie has in its cap, Tiki. This is the thing that really, I think this is why people are raving over the film. And it has every right that it should, is that Superman makes an appeal to Metropolis on the bridge. We don't just punch the bad guy in the end.
No, this is a great climax. You're right. It's a pretty powerful moment. It's I Am Iron Man, but played ridiculously straight.
Exactly. It's making the big. It's him making the big appeal. Basically everything he's learned in the movie up to this point. He's basically coming out as an alien to the public, saying, "Hey, guys, he's a human. I'm the alien." Okay, but we're both very human in a sense. We're both, we both were raised here. He is an actual true blue human. Like you don't hate him. You fear him right now because you don't understand him. Just kind of get into the roots of what people kind of rants about hatred. It's kind of Superman is kind of calling out the world in a moment here, but a really kind of friendly, kind of diffusive way.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really strong stuff. And essentially, in this moment, Superman becomes a symbol for the immigrant story, which, again, is very much, the intent and very fitting. And I love that, in the end, after he makes this speech, again, through almost like a King Kong misunderstanding, where he sees a woman and her child kind of thinking back to his daughter, kind of leans in a little close. People are throwing Molotov cocktails at him, which just shows you that people are listening, but it's still humanity, and it's not always 100% so. So you're going to have a few jerks that are going to throw Molotov cocktails and make the situation worse. But ultimately, it took me 2 watches to fully get this, Tiki, is that Parasite sacrificed himself to save everyone from the power plant melting down, which is a really...
Yeah, I got that.
Which I love was... Again, a very human act, and very much, again, he absorbed a little bit of Superman's heroicness, a little bit of the heroism of Superman. It's the very human act, like Rudy saving those people at Star Labs, but in monster form. And again, made a choice to use his powers to save everyone. Beautiful stuff.
Right. So then we just end out on some Daily Planet stuff. Superman stands Lois up for a change. That's a great reversal.
Oh yeah, and of course we have the fun kind of call out that we have 3 different aliens kind of bonded to each other before that. And then here's the thing: Lobo says he killed his people. Now in the comics, that's how that goes. But I love that it's a little bit ambiguous because the minute he says that, it's like he kind of killed the moment, Lobo. We're all the orphans of our planet here. You said you killed all yours, and he says, "No, I'm just kidding." So I don't think. Here's the thing: just given how that usually is, I think he's lying in that moment.
I feel like this Lobo is the kind of who would say something and then have a "nah, just kidding" afterwards. He's done that before in the movie.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Absolutely. But that also kind of gives a little tease of hope. That, again, this is true. There are more Martians and technically more Kryptonians with guys like Zod out there and everything. So it's it's a little tantalizing bit of hope for the Martian Manhunter to find more of his people. And Superman's response, like, "Hey, you want to come along with me? Go on like a little space road trip. We'll find our people. Little bonded magic.
A little novel.
Yeah, something like that. So, it's my people are right here. Right, just really nice. And yeah, Superman stands Lois up again. The power move right there, and then we have like this Tiki. This is such a beautiful Donner throwback. Christopher Reeve's best scene in Superman. We kind of homage here, where basically Superman, after the whole night on the town with Lois Lane, he drops her off and he flies away. And in the same shot, Clark Kent's at the door, completely different. And we kind of homage that here, like Superman flies by that window, waving at all the Daily Planet people, and then Clark Kent shows up to Lois. Says, "Hey, Lois, what are you doing? Looking for my day planner."
Yeah.
So again, Superman's choices, he inspired people, he saved lives, and he has Lois second-guessing her cynical ways. And we have the poster, Man of Tomorrow, hope for tomorrow, looking forward. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so final thoughts. I don't have a ton to say about this one, Dragon. I really don't, but I do think it's a great starting point for the continuity list DC films. I'm really excited to see how far they can push that, and I don't know, it's definitely up there with some of the best Superman stuff I've seen for sure. I liked it a lot.
Final thoughts for me. Again, this really is the Superman we need right now. This and that Superman and Lois show at the moment. We haven't finished that season. I'm just going to say right now, 5 episodes in, it's the Superman show we need right now. It's this Superman. It's less about what Superman can do. It's why he does what he does. And this film, it's really Clark Kent's movie, as it should be. It's Clark Kent's movie. It's the human struggle via this coming of age tale, and kind of like the whole truth and power and alien theme. It's filtered through the themes of xenophobia, lust, and abuse of power. It's all this stuff is like the tip of the iceberg of what you can do with a Superman story. Look, ultimately, going into this thing, when I saw like the footage and everything, like seeing the American Alien stuff, would I have loved a straight-on American Alien adaptation? Of course I would have. I would have loved that. But this took that and it ran with the potential that book showed us is there with Superman, which is also really important. Again, especially for striking the right note for all these less non-continuity driven films. I mean, I don't think this is. I can't say this is necessarily the favorite of the animated Superman films, but it's probably, I think it's objectively might be the best executed of all the animated Superman films. I mean, for me, it's like the best Superman animated films. It's this, Superman versus the Elite, and All-Star Superman. Those are my top 3 go-tos. We need to remind ourselves when it comes to Superman that this film does so well. That he's not a gimmick or laser eyes to sell on T-shirts and posters. It's that Chris Reeve smile to camera at the end. It's that constant we can trust, that we want to be like on our best day. Hope for the future, or better yet, tomorrow.
All right, well said, Dragon. Take us out on a Lobo line.
Well, this has been great. But I gotta go because I gotta take a big old space dump and I don't do it anywhere but my own.
Of course you went with that. All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Name's
More
Lobo.
jerky.